Actually,
Well, I think we can hold that.
Hey.
Hey.
Hello.
Sure.
I don't know where the,
I just met you going up in Still, right?
What's that?
I just met you going up.
Well,
in
we can just hold it.
I'm Kim Nolan.
What's that?
I'm Kim Nolan, the 134 being the Wildcat.
Oh, okay.
Fast.
Yes.
I don't know how.
Hi,
Yeah, okay.
I'm Patty Gimelli. Hi. Nice to meet you, sir.
Hi.
Hey.
Graham, how are you, sir?
I'm Carl Bissix. I'm the chair.
Yes, sir.
Nice to see you. I remember you from before. Mhm.
We have you feeling good today?
Yeah, okay, I don't really think this morning, but I'm okay now.
Is your wife mad at you because you're here?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think that's, I'm just on her side.
oh, it's just-
So with Michael speaking to yes, what's his name again?
Yes, it's,
Yasis.
Yes, yes, yes.
Was anything reported, you know?
I don't have any information. I know.
Because that would be even more.
Yeah, no, I know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'd like to start the meeting since we're
We
recording
can.
and I don't have any way to turn it off.
I thought we couldn't.
And it is 4 o'clock. I'm Carl Bissix. We don't have a forum, but we do have a hearing today. Well, I guess we should wait for somebody to come in. Do we have any board members that are going to join us by Zoom?
Was Peter coming?
I thought Peter was going to get
He
here.
could be
Yeah,
held up. He could be held up.
Yeah.
Peter responsible.
Yeah.
Young bear.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, Dan, and you just said Dan was,
Emily, the woman who's injured, is not
It's
able to make it,
3:59.
she's traveling, and
Yeah, okay.
Peter Yachts is not gonna be able to make it, our dog officer. So this is it, and we just need one more select board member to get this
Yeah.
going here.
Okay, we had him the other day, he was talking to us on. Do you have his information the other day, he was talking to us all on Zoom?
I think I hear somebody.
It's probably him now, it's actually a minute early.
Okay.
Here he is. You're a minute early. Did you run from Barry? Did you run here from Barry? Thank you, Peter.
Not to.
Okay, so I'm gonna be out here in 30 minutes, shoot.
I have.
okay, I'll call the meeting to order at 4 o'clock. This is a special meeting inspired by a resident of town who was bitten by a dog and reported it to the town clerk, and we have 7 days to have a meeting, and that's what we're doing.
Do something, somebody's waiting.
That's recording.
Can you click the bid on the?
Charlie Pop.
Oh,
Oh,
do you know how to run this, Peter?
I do not.
Okay, I don't either.
come down, Charlie.
Just.
Oh, here we go. I got it.
You did that.
So he's in, so.
Okay. Yeah. Um, so, the residents at 79 Bean Road in Plainfield have a dog, and the dog bit a pedestrian on the road that required medical attention. And we need to review the situation and decide what the next step is. I don't know that I know exactly what our responsibility or rights are to make any decisions, but
You there?
Two more people to talk in the waiting room.
okay.
We were the dog officer, you could tell us.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah. Get your cursor.
You, they are.
Get your cursor on you.
Oh, okay.
Community or, it might be.
Yeah, we've let people in before who turn out to be.
Christensen Warner.
In Eric Blaisdell,
I don't know who that is.
that's the guy who has their guest.
Yeah, Eric.
We can let him in.
Okay, that's.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, I guess Eric's on. So Christopher, you're the constable in town. Can we get any kind of report from you? Do you know anything about the situation? And,
Actually, I'm just getting caught up. It's the first time I've read the
okay,
individual statement. I have done a little bit of research. Vermont cities and even towns offer a wonderful publication, municipal dog control manual, the big book of woof, they call it. It's an invaluable tool. There's a lot of features
Okay.
in there. I probably recommend going through it. From what I've heard, and I'm not clear on this affidavit, if the animal was on the property when it assaulted the individual
I, Patty Jamali, I believe she was running by.
running by.
She was in the road and she was running by. And he ran out and the dog ran out of his area and bit her.
So it's a public.
Yes,
road.
yes.
And that it is an unregistered animal. We don't know
Correct.
if it's had its
We have said
shots.
yes, yeah.
unregistered, and we don't know the status of,
And he wouldn't say
Shots.
whether or not the dog had rabies or not,
Right,
according
she-
to her thing. He said, well, my dog usually doesn't bite people. That's when she said, is the dog vaccinated?
Also, it seems to have a history, I understand, of being rather aggressive. to
Yeah.
Yes,
leaving its
in
property.
fact, one of the
Yeah.
neighbors is here, who, was cornered in,
Yep,
her garage by this animal.
and my husband, Michael Nolan, was pinned 3 different times by the dog coming to our property. He couldn't move, because anytime you tried to get him away, he'd become more aggressive.
and my understanding is that the woman who was bitten had to get medical treatment, and so far she spent $1,400 because she wasn't sure if the dog had rabies or not, and she had to go through the process. So in normal times, I would suggest that the owner of the dog pay that, but we don't have any authority to make that happen. But it's the woman who got bitten, by the way, is Emily Wolmers. And she lives in Maple Hill Road in Plainfield.
It was just jogging by.
My understanding so far along, please, by all means, I'll jump right in. Is that it changes the playing field in regards to us and the victim because the person was bitten. So a lot of rules and regulations are step aside in regards to that because the animal did bite someone. My recommendation, from what I've learned so far, is we should impound the animal and at the very least discover whether it has rabies or not. Of course, if it's not dead yet, not to be use better words I probably could use. One could assume that it doesn't have rabies, but impounding the animal might be the cure or a solution. However, it brings on a few other problems as to who is going to do all these things. On the monetary aspect, tickets, things like that, my understanding is the individual is monetarily strapped. So I'm not sure whether ticketing and that kind of offenses is going to get anywhere, and I'm not sure if the victim will be felt to be made whole in that case as well. She also has quite a bit of a medical bill that we need to recognize.
Well, there is a small claims court, which she certainly would have the right to use and try and recover the costs. I don't know that the town has any say in particular on this. Do you happen to know?
Well, I
Right.
mean, there's the book of Wolf that he referenced. I
Yeah.
sent everybody the remedies, and impounding is certainly an option. I had lengthy communications with Peter Yasis regarding this and next steps, and at the last minute, he couldn't make this meeting. So
Yeah, he's the
that's
town,
kind of-
he's the animal control officer.
Yeah, he's the animal control officer, so that's kind of frustrating on my end. you know, I don't know.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
So can I ask a question? If you impound him, how long is the dog impounded for?
That depends on where we bring it to the impound, but that's on their schedule. It impounds for, let's say 7 days, of which the fees eventually go to the owner. And which they assess if the animal stays there, it's not adopted, there's no response. Worst case scenario, it gets destroyed. But from what I've read in the Big Book of Wolf, we try not to destroy people's animals, but in this case, that might be what happens, but let's not make that.
So if he's impounded, it's up to the owner to pay to get him out of the pound. After say the 7 days.
It's up to the owner to reimburse. If we get the animal out, then now the animal is our problem. So I would say yes.
We know he's not gonna get the animal out.
Right.
He's not gonna pay, right?
No, he's not gonna pay.
Yeah.
No,
So the animal would hypothetically stay in that situation, and then for whatever the Humane Society, where Peter tells me there's a place in Danville that does
Mhm.
this. I'm not aware of it, but I'm gonna have to do some more research on that. That would help us in that regard.
I believe Danville, the place in Danville, which is what the town many, many years ago had a contract with. I don't think they're in service anymore.
Okay.
And I have not heard anything about them. Random Rescue, which is out of Chelsea, is the one that does most of the local municipalities at this point in time.
Random rescue
Random Rescue.
in Chelsea, okay. Well, my issue is that, at this point, to impound the animal, I don't know if it makes any sense, because like you say, if the dog had rabies, it's, I don't know, would it still have rabies? Or,
No, there's a time limit on that.
Well, and
I'm not sure how long.
and just so the town is aware, the initial dog bite happened on January 25th.
That's right.
First. So the impounding and doing that type of stuff for the part of the dog bite, I think you're gonna be a little bit overdue.
I think, yeah, yeah.
As far as doing things because the dog isn't registered within a town, that's a different issue.
Hmm.
So you have different things in your ordinances that you can go over that give you your guidelines on what you can do as far as impounding the dog for the purpose of registration, non-registration, I should say. And again, at that point, if they don't register the dog and or pay the fees with whoever you have, random rescue or whatever, at that point, the dog then goes to a Humane Society
Hmm.
through the practice.
Okay.
That's how your ordinances read out.
I think that's basically where I was going, but also with the idea in mind, the animal is still being offensive, running around and not.
So one thing I will point out, I had a conversation with Peter, and some of the conversation had to deal with who he had named as being the owner or the person at the property. I know that person, and who they said came to the door is not one and the same person. So I just want you to be aware, not sure who the dog owner is, or who is even staying there at this point in time. I mean, I know that that's been an issue here for a while. I know I've spoken to Bram about the other issues that the town has with that property. So I'm not quite sure who even is living there. There's two
Okay.
vehicles in the yard, I just won't buy there.
Pam knows.
only one runs.
Excuse me.
The red one is the one they run every day.
Yeah, the other one's buried in the snow.
Well, he takes that out every now and then and goes down to Maple Fields.
Yeah.
But it's Devin Lynch who lives there with his girlfriend and a young child. And I don't know who you think lives there when you
So I
went to the
understand-
door.
My understanding is the person who came to the door that met up with the lady who was bitten was an older gentleman.
So not-
And,
No.
the
It was
person you're
Devin.
mentioning is not an older gentleman.
No, it's Devin that came to the door.
Okay.
And Devin is a younger guy?
He's the man we've all
Yeah,
been.
we're
Mhm.
talking about.
There's nobody else that
met
lives
him.
Like I
there.
said, I just know that Devin's not an older person.
No, he's not.
No. Okay,
Can I-
so we have to establish that. Go ahead.
I just want to ask a question. If he gets to the Humane Society, then he can be adopted, but then the person who adopts him has to pay all the fees, the dog?
We pay the adoption fees, that would be it.
I just don't want this dog to get killed. I
Yeah, the
don't,
fees, the rent,
Yeah,
okay.
but then
I-
it would be up to us to.
Well, what's to say they can't get another dog?
Well, they can, but we're talking about this dog now.
Maybe this dog will be better behaved.
But
Yeah, I'm not sure we have the right to tell somebody they can have a dog or not.
It's just
We do have a
dogs.
right, though, it sounds like, to say that they have to be registered. with the town, and which proves that they have rabies shots.
Another question I have, I guess, this dog has just been allowed to be wild and do whatever, and it's a
He
menace. to
keeps it on a
society.
leash once in a while, and then every now and then he just lets her go, and she's everywhere. And she's pinned Ryan and his wife in their own dooryard. I mean, he doesn't stay on his own little postage stamp for property, he comes across the road and he bothers all the neighbors, and he's very aggressive.
He's
You can't
aggressive.
shoo him away, because every time you try to shoo him, he lunges towards you. And one of these times, somebody's gonna shoot him,
Yeah,
because he's on someone else's property and you fear for your life. This is a pit bull, she's a female.
yeah.
I see Michael has his.
Yeah, Michael, can you hear us?
Excuse me, let me unmute. I have a question. What happens, I mean, this has to do with the impoundment question. What happens if the dog bites someone again? In other words, if we do see this behavior repeating itself, she might bite someone again. If the dog is impounded, it can be tested for rabies. And that's one of the things that doesn't seem to be a clear answer right now. We don't, I mean, it probably, I mean, if someone gets bitten, they'll have to have another rabies series. I mean, we have to protect that too, I think.
The town has a responsibility to keep people safe, to Michael's point, I think, and I don't know if there's a statute of limitations of when the bite happened to when we can impound. It's been almost a month.
Like you said, the dog hasn't passed away, so it doesn't, obviously doesn't sound like it has rabies.
Right, because it would normally.
Right, within a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Right, but the point is, it still has to be registered, it has to have its shots, and has to follow the rules of the town.
And they're not gonna do it, right? They're not gonna do that. We know they're not gonna.
Lisa Fantelli,
I don't know. Is that the person?
is
No.
this Devin's girlfriend?
I don't know.
I don't know what her name is.
They have their hand up.
They have their hand up, okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to get her on here.
Just click on the-
No, I'm a neighbor.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, and you're on. Did you have a question?
Is she still on mute?
I still
No,
see this.
I don't have a question.
Okay,
Can you ask her where she's a neighbor?
she's a neighbor, she said. Oh,
There's nobody on our road with that name.
yeah, we don't know anyone named Lisa on Bean Road.
I'm on Fowler Road,
Oh, okay,
right at the corner.
okay.
Your hand is up. Is that a mistake?
Yeah, I think she's left it up. Peter, you have any thoughts?
I have read the complaint. I've been trying to absorb Graham's, thank you for sending out the dog ordinance that Plainfield adopted. And then we have this model from the League of Cities and Towns, but I don't think we need the model because we have our own.
Yeah,
ordinance.
and I think it was based on the model when we did it a number of years.
And I'm just reading language. I'm trying to figure out what is the continuing violation here. The continuing violation that I see is that it is unlicensed.
It's unlicensed and freely roaming on occasion.
It is-
It's falling
it
under
is
the
free-
nuisance clause.
It is, yes, but
Wait,
if you
wait.
read the nuisance clause, clauses, there are several that goes on with ors after a bunch of them. And the word that is used repeatedly is repeatedly. Okay, in other words, if it repeatedly does this, if it repeatedly does that, so I think there's an issue with a single incident. In terms of what we are legally allowed to enforce here. What isn't clearly an ongoing situation, it is unlicensed. And then if I look at section on page 3, section 7, the enforcement and penalties. The animal control officer may seize or impound any animal determined to be in violation of this civil ordinance if such nuisance condition or act occurs in the presence of the officer. Okay, so what would be in the presence of the officer would be the status of being unlicensed. Unless, of course, it attacks him and bites him or anyone who is with him while visiting, that then you have a second repeated act of violence, if you will. So I'm just reading here.
Yeah.
This is my first dog incident as a select board member, so I'm trying to figure out what.
Well, back earlier, Michael Nolan was pinned in his garage 3 different times. Yesin.
Yeah, yes, it's-
Yasis came, talked to Michael. Michael expected him to come back with paperwork to sign, and he never did. He's
Oh,
pinned me twice, Ryan and his wife have been pinned twice, they live right across the street, by the same dog, because he's let roam freely.
and he's aggressive.
If I could go further.
Yeah.
Are we in a quasi judicial board mode here in this hearing?
What's that mean?
We can take an action.
In other words, is this a place where we need to receive evidence and document it,
Oh,
as opposed to hearsay?
I believe so.
Okay.
Well, I don't think, Ryan, are you on? Can you unmute, please?
Yeah, Sarah and I are here.
All right, Ryan, speak up, how you and Sarah have been attacked or whatever.
Yeah, the dog's tied outside, left outside most of the time, and then every once in a while it gets loose and it's trapped us, you know, by the mailbox or in our blueberry patch, or it's probably happened half a dozen times, and it's never bit us, but you know, it's
aggressive and it lunges at you.
yeah, it's almost every time I think it's been one of our other dogs that's distracted it. So it's sort of, you know, we're sort of just waiting until the moment when we don't have when things don't go our way. And unfortunately, that's what happened with the woman that ran by. You know, that's what we've always sort of expected would happen to one of us or our kids or another neighbor. And we've reported this to the town, to Peter Yasis and the select board.
I did speak with Yasis, with Michael Nolan, the time he came up.
Can we speak about harassment, which is another technical term, with the prior constable Kathleen Hayes? I had discussions about harassment of my livestock by some loose in Plainfield dogs, and it is a concept that has a legal definition. And we're hearing not hearsay, but first-person evidence from Kim and from several neighbors about their encounters with the dog. So it's actually right here in our presence. We're hearing of people talking about harassment, a repeated pattern of harassment. Is that something that can be examined as a behavior?
The word harassment isn't in our ordinance. I'm trying to see if there's something that sounds or looks like it, but I don't see that.
Okay, thanks.
And again, I'm just reading this for the first time, so maybe I just haven't hit it yet.
You might see it with respect to livestock. I'm not sure. That's what Kathleen was looking at.
It actually is an animal that repeatedly disturbs the rights or threatens the safety of
What page
members
you
of the
on?
public. That's on page 2, top.
And under animal use.
Okay.
it sounds like that's what's going on.
Repeatedly disturbs the rights, threatens the safety, or interferes with ordinary use and enjoyment of property, or is allowed to damage, such as turning over garbage cans, destroying your gardens, etc. Or worrying domestic animals or pets. Maybe that's what it is, Michael, worrying. Those cows were worried.
That's correct. Thank you very much, Peter.
Yeah.
Well, we are always worried every time we're outside, because all of a sudden you turn around and there she is.
Section B also covers an animal that habitually or repeatedly chases, snaps at, attacks or barks at pedestrians, joggers, dogs walk and are lead by owners, bicycles.
Okay, so we're in the definitions in the nuisances section, so it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so then what is the power? That's the next question. And it's like, okay, so the control officer, the general violation, then when you get into subsection 7, enforcement and penalties, they can seize or impound if it's deemed in violation, if it occurs in the presence of the officer. That's key in there.
So either the dog is off leash, or as you point out, if he doesn't have a license, he's in violation immediately.
And the officer shall forthwith give notice in writing to the owner, mailed to the last, certified address by certified mail, blah, blah, blah. Stating that the animal may be reclaimed, and that's if the officer impounds or seizes it.
Mhm. It sounds like we have the authority to have the dog impounded.
But does it,
The animal control officer.
The animal control officer will.
is that a lot of writing and giving it to the person before you could do that? Is there a lot of, are there more steps?
Yes, the individual has to be notified.
Okay.
We
By
do know-
certified,
We do have to know who the individual that owns the animal is.
Yeah.
There is a bit, that addresses that, I believe, in paragraph, B in section 7.
If the owner is unknown, yeah.
Also, I don't know if you have these, if I may, bro. I got this from my
Yes,
city.
yeah, that's what we have.
Yeah.
okay, so there's a whole process here to impound this dog. We have to decide today if that's gonna happen. There's a whole process. We have to
Right.
decide. Yeah,
Yeah, we have to decide if we get the process going.
yeah.
I do not know who owns the dog, if it's Devin or if it's the lady friend. I have no idea. Dog came there when they came,
And it's been two of them, so.
yes,
And we have to know that?
No,
Okay.
No.
because it's the
no,
premises.
A and B is like, if you know who the owner is, here you do, if you don't know, but it doesn't mean that the animal control officer can't seize or impound.
Right, it's so,
How do you then notify once they've done that?
Okay.
so, okay. So we can take the dangerous animal out of the circulation, so to speak, and then notify the owner.
But you have to send them a certified letter first, correct?
I believe I read that it doesn't have to be certified, but it'd be wise to do so.
He won't sign it. I mean, we've been through
Well,
this. with other things.
We've been through this before and other
Yeah.
things.
Can,
Yes,
can the
that's-
dog be impounded without any? Without them, with them ignoring the letter, with all that
Yes.
happening? Okay.
Yes, that's what this says.
Okay.
They can impound or seize it,
Right.
if the act or condition occurs in the presence of the officer. Then they shall notify the owner or keeper, if known, by mail, last known address, certified, et cetera. You don't have to do that first. You can just go and,
And I can tell you, he's been taking
Grab
the
it.
dog with him and bringing him home at night, because I know he's expecting somebody to show up there.
Okay,
I did not see the dog. It doesn't mean, my husband, Michael, has seen him bringing it inside the camper at night. So he's been taking the dog. I've met him on the road with the dog sitting in the front seat. Where he takes him during the daytime, because he works at Huntington Homes, I don't know. He could be with the lady friend. Because she hasn't been up there till today. She's been gone for a while. So I think it's been too cold.
I guess one of the things that I'm troubled about is how much authority does the animal control officer have to go onto the property? And let's say the dog is tied up. Does the animal control officer have the right to go in and take the dog?
Well, might I make a suggestion? Given the fact that Ryan and Kim have spoken that this is a fairly regular occurrence. Perhaps the board should simply instruct the animal control officer to seize the dog if he's on your property or Ryan's property. In other words.
Yeah, but by the time they would get there, he'd be gone.
Okay, I mean, I'm just.
we can order it to be seized because it is unlicensed. That condition is
Okay.
continuing.
Okay, then,
Yeah,
if at this point, if he's hiding his dog, can we order him to, give up his dog? Give his dog,
You can order them to turn the dog in.
okay,
As far as entering somebody's property, you don't have a lawful authority to go into somebody's residence and take their dog, so. If you're gonna go there to do that, you'd have to have a warrant.
Right.
okay,
you can say, bring your dog in.
He's out running loose throughout the neighborhood. Your animal control officer by all means can grab that dog and then get a hold of ranch. Gonna have people in there.
But it sounds like he's not, it sounds like he's keeping his dog with him now, because he knows that
After
the
this
jig is
incident,
up
yeah.
and that someone's gonna, yeah. So we can compel him to give his dog up,
You
Yes?
you can notice him that he needs to
okay, okay.
relinquish the dog.
How long a time? Like 1 week?
Issue if you're gonna be placed in, if he doesn't, then you gotta go for a walk. Hopefully next week.
I'm sure. You're gonna deal with a warrant.
He should be told to license and inoculate his dog immediately.
But then then the dog's allowed to stay. If he's licensed and,
Well, that means that he's cured that one violation. He hasn't cured the violence, but you can't do anything about that until the dog is off property running loose.
how are you gonna get it? I mean, you're not up there all the time.
And I'll be open, we've already talked about this, that as far as the sheriff's department's concerned with taking a dog, that's not something that we're gonna be involved in.
No.
It's the liability insurance that's involved in dealing with that end of it is quite drastic. As far as our town end, are we more than pleased to assist and deal with things as far as dealing with the civil violations? I can tell you, I'm more than pleased to issue a civil violation, but I'll let you know, it's gonna be a violation that we witness. And the only reason I'll give you that is, as I've already dealt with some of the, trying to set up traffic hearings with witnesses and to get them there to be able to testify is something difficult. So if I do all of this work and they don't show up, the ticket goes away, because they are clearly.
Well, look, they haven't shown today. Yeah.
I have a suggestion and a question. I know that whatever circumstances that lead us to be able to encounter the dog, the question is, can Peter be accompanied? In other words, I would think it would be safe for Peter to do this alone. And with the possible range of people who could accompany him, I would start with asking if the sheriff has in their role, the sheriff's department has accompanying for safety reasons, the animal control officer. Is that a possibility?
That is a possibility, but then it's trying to organize the time to be able to do it when we know they're going to be there.
I mean, the other option is the constable, but the constable may not feel safe to do that. I don't know.
I've always recommended to Peter, we should always travel in pairs for everybody's safety. So by all means, I would accompany him.
Well, I know the mailman has been stopping by and giving it a biscuit. He does walk out back to the doghouse. I've seen him, giving him a biscuit, trying to befriend him.
Yeah,
Why he's doing that, I don't know, whatever.
next dog.
Well,
Who's doing this?
The gentleman that does the mail on weekends,
Oh, okay,
long beard, I
Huh.
don't know his name.
okay.
So he doesn't get bit.
I have no idea, because he has no reason to walk way out back. The mailbox is right there on the road. I think he's trying to befriend the dog.
We feel sorry for him, he's tied up all the time.
True, but I'm past that.
A little confused on one thing. It says in section F, the animal control officer is hereby authorized and empowered to enter into private lands, seize and impound animals, and take all reasonable and necessary measures to abate a public nuisance, which shall occur in his or her presence. Not on the home, I understand, not inside the house. That would require a warrant, but we can go on the property and seize the animal in that respect, if I'm
If you,
reading that right.
if you can catch it outside.
It's all on our part to
Right.
do that.
I see you making a face. Is there? Yeah,
What the ordinances say in the state law, as I would suggest that before they do that, they have a conversation with the state's attorney, and get something from the state's attorney that gives you guidance.
To see if F is actually
What we're
enforceable.
not legal.
yeah, we want to follow the law
Correct.
first.
Can I ask you a question then?
Sure thing.
Next time that dog comes onto my property and I feel threatened, can I shoot it?
Again, you call the attorney now.
Geez, that's not the right answers. But if I feel threatened, I can take that dog down. First of all, he's on my property illegally and he's threatening me. I have an 11-year-old grandson who's outside all the time. The guys across the road, Michael and Sean, are dealing with the same thing. They've got a grandchild.
I know if you were livestock, that would be true.
Yeah, and even Michael has said,
Pretend you're.
the dog comes back again, it's gone. He's done. It's trapped him enough times. And like I said, she comes up behind you, she's not barking and running. All of a sudden you turn around and she's there. Because I've come out of the garage at night, Michael said, don't move. I says, why? He said, the dog is right there by the camper. I can't move. I try to move, she lunges towards me, and you keep trying to shoo her, she lunges all the more. Michael said, it's gonna be gone. either him or I, dog's going.
I have a question for Kim.
Yes,
Kim, would it be helpful if you, once you observe the dog is outdoors, in other words, on a leash and not inside the house, if you could notify Peter, making it easier for an impoundment to occur?
yeah, yep.
Okay, that sounds like a
All the
strategy.
time.
That sounds like a possible strategy.
And Michael's home now that he's retired, he sees, he drives by. But he has noticed lately, since the biting, woman being bit, the dog, he's been taking it during the day. And then at nighttime, he's putting it in the camper. But yes, I would keep my eyes open. You're Peter, right?
I'm Chris.
Right down, you're Chris. Who's Peter?
Peter is-
The guy that's no longer.
No, well, he's still the animal control officer, but he's not just at this hearing.
Yeah, but he didn't do any good.
Right.
He didn't write down Michael telling him that he was trapped 3 times and never came back with paper where anything was filed.
Right.
So that-
We're gonna verify that he didn't write anything down
Mhm.
and there will be consequences.
But I don't wanna call this guy if he's not going to take action.
I hear you. I mean, I just think right now,
Mhm.
we have to play with the cards that
All
we
right, can you
dealt.
write down Peter's phone number for me?
Yeah, sure.
I don't have it.
In your town report.
It's 504. Hold on, I think I have it on my. phone.
I'll look it up.
No, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it is in the town report.
Yeah, here it is.
So I will call him next time I see the dog outside. And I don't want him to say, I'm too busy to go. Cause you're not gonna have too many chances to get that dog.
Yeah,
Yeah, this has given me a couple of things. This is again from the league about killing dogs. Okay. State law authorizes the killing of dogs in discrete circumstances. No notice is needed, no hearing is necessary. They're allowed you, the government or the private citizen, to summarily kill dogs because of the threat they pose to individuals of the public.
There you go.
Now, there are other circumstances. 20 VSA 3545, law could be renamed the dog self-defense law. If a dog is attacking a person, they may kill it, so long as the dog is, at the time, isn't restrained within an enclosure or on the owner's property. So if it's off the owner's property,
The owner, yeah, right. So far, I'm hearing I have the right.
yeah, and it extends to
Anybody
dogs
has the right.
wounding, killing, or worrying
Yep,
another domestic pet or animal when the
Yep.
attendant searches, that it's reasonably necessary to prevent injury to the animal or fowl. So if you're trying to protect your other animals.
well, I don't have any. animals.
Yourself,
It'll be myself
your children,
and my grandson. Yep.
This statute shouldn't be misconstrued to kill any dog that an animal control or local enforcement officer finds nipping at their heels.
What does that mean?
Unless the dog is exhibiting signs of rabid behavior, the town can pretty much count on the owner of a dog the size of a cat suing the town for killing their dog. Ergo, use your best judgment. If bodily harm is an issue, the law authorizes you to protect yourself.
Oh, this
So, I
dog.
mean,
I would-
you can see where the
Mhm.
balance is kind of shift.
yeah. I would recommend, Kim, that you document and submit the events that you've known about and we'll ask Ryan and Sarah to do the same. The more we
I
can
don't
build,
have the dates. This animal control guy would have it. I don't
Okay.
remember exactly
we
when.
can ask him for it.
Mhm.
I think it's important we build a file.
Mhm.
So if some drastic measures are necessary, there's some logic behind it.
Mhm.
And that protects you, as well as,
Yes.
you know, anyone else.
In addition to that, if the town decides to go through municipal ticketing, there's a process involved. The cities are the joint judiciary are very adamant about making sure we have undeniable proof.
Yeah.
Evidence. all
That's
along.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, that's what I'm thinking. We need documentation of events that are threatening.
And Brad, you sent something out a couple days ago about the municipal, the ticketing.
Ticket.
Are we set up for that?
We're not set up
We're
yet.
not.
We're gonna have that at a
We're
future
not
meeting.
set up yet, but I want to empower 3 different town officers. You guys have to vote on it, and I have to inform the judiciary. But it's in process right now. I just,
will we be able to talk about that on May 10th
Yeah, we can bring that.
at our meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be an agenda item.
You mean March 10th?
I mean, sorry, March. Getting ahead of myself.
So at this point, are you going out to impound the dog?
It does fall under the animal control officer, but I am also, that also falls under my
And you
responsibility.
do not have to send them anything in writing
After the fact, we do.
After the fact.
after the fact, yeah, but not before.
Not before the fact is what I've heard, yes.
Okay,
Uh,
but do I
that's-
need to call you when the dog is there?
Oh, I would recommend calling the animal control and me,
Oh,
and the town.
which, write down your full name for me. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are.
Oh, my God.
And by the way, I have a large cage you could borrow if you wanted to.
Yeah, okay.
If there was a way to get it in a cage, that'd be the easiest. Treats? I don't know.
I hear the dog can be bribed. So.
I hear
The mailman's
the mailman
successful.
seems to have a
I
method.
see him going out there.
Maybe put a sports TV can in the.
Yeah.
You know, I will be honest, I'm not gonna guarantee
so-
the success of that
Hold on.
impoundment. It may be a labor of exhaustion. Both Peter and I work full time, so it's a
Mhm.
matter of, again, scheduling in that respect.
So you both have to go there at the same time?
It's always better to go in
Yeah,
pairs.
yeah.
Always.
One person isn't gonna deal with this dog.
No.
It wouldn't be wise.
Distracted.
So is there a motion that has to be made or?
I'm just wondering, do we need a motion or do we just direct you to call the animal control officer? Or
Yeah, I'll call him. I'm not particularly happy about the not showing up today, so I will
Yeah.
call him and tell him.
That's gonna have to be a discussion as well.
Yes, I agree.
Excuse me, I've yet to hear that the select board has ruled that the animal is in violation. If that was something you could vote on and decide here in a formal way, that would empower the issuing of tickets and empower the issuing of an impoundment action. But if you don't say that, if you don't acknowledge the animal's in violation as a voted measure, you might weaken the case for the future action.
Well, we know the animal is in violation of our licensing law.
The animals, yes, in violation of ordinance. For tickets, the tickets go through the state. We don't actually process the tickets. They come to us and then they go on to be processed through.
Does the state keep that file on the tickets and
I would imagine they would, yeah,
which is a good reason to have that system?
if I'm correct.
No,
I'm
not,
not correct.
no, as far as municipal violations, if you issue a municipal violation, it's the town's responsibility to keep a copy of that. The other goes to the issue bureau.
Oh, so there's a canary copy.
Correct, there's a process that goes through there. There's quite an extensive process.
Forgive me, I'm on a learning curve as
Yeah,
well.
that's no issue.
Good.
No issue, if we were to write it, it would be the same thing, we would keep a copy.
But does it go through, it does go through the
It goes through the
because
issue.
there's a fee involved with that.
That
That's
is
what,
correct.
$12 fee, I think it was.
As far as filing,
Yeah.
there's no filing.
Wasn't that time?
Not on my end.
Oh.
I don't know about yours, I can't speak on behalf of that.
Peter,
I would make a motion that the select board request our animal control officer and constable to impound the dog at
79,
79 Bean Road. This is a female pit bull, I
Yes.
understand,
yes.
for being in violation of our licensing law, licensing ordinance.
Yes, I do that.
all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so if we could ask
Peter.
you to
So
come.
I will call next time I see that dog outside.
Or in his
Now-
house?
Oh, I can't tell if it's in the house.
I mean,
Unless I see him putting it in there.
And
He's
I don't
always before been outside, but since this
Yeah.
incident, there's been days he's been gone.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's what,
I don't think there's anything that prohibits the two of them when they're there, if the dog is loose from impounding it on other reason, which is, continuing threats and aggressiveness and whatnot. But the authority that we have at this point is because it is unlicensed.
Yep. All right, any other business?
thank you very much.
I was gonna bring something up, not related to this, but.
Okay.
I think, perhaps it has to do with a disposition of some town property, but perhaps it's more appropriate to bring it up to March 10th meeting.
You wanna have a item on the agenda for that? Okay,
It's just the disposition of the truck. This is usually handled completely within the municipal, the town clerk and the road foreman usually decide these matters. But given past history, I want to be very transparent about the sale,
yep,
because there were some problems in the past. So just.
let's do it then. Yeah. Yep.
Can I ask you a question? Have you heard from the judge? Has he made a ruling?
We have heard from the judge. I talked to Tarrant on Friday. And
Yes, yesterday.
Thank you,
Great,
sir.
thank you so much.
is that yesterday? Thanks for coming. I
Yes.
appreciate it.
It was yesterday.
This
is on, why don't you preface what this is about, because maybe people don't understand.
Okay, so the issue is that he's been in violation. The people who are staying at the property on 79 Bean Road have been in violation of our ordinance that says you can't spend 180 days within a calendar year in an RV. And they violated that several years now. They went to court. We won some and lost some. The win was he has 30 days to leave.
Yes. But camper too, or just him?
He has to leave. That's what the judge said.
Okay.
Uh,
So the mess is left.
the mess is gonna be left, Kim, whatever happens,
Okay,
I think. But we didn't get any, the judge felt that the zoning administrator had not observed enough times that he was there, living there, directly and made a report on it to issue him a fine. So he's not asking for fines, the judge. But our thing has always been, we don't want him there.
right. Okay, so let me go a little further with this. Okay, in 30 days he has to leave. Can he come back? Or is this, he's leave and he's gone, that's it, he's done. He cannot come back to those premises.
My understanding, I don't know, we can ask that question. My understanding is that he would have to leave for 180 days and then he could come back.
Oh, my gosh. What?
I may be wrong, but I don't know what, the judge didn't say he has to leave forever.
Do we have a copy of the judge's opinion?
I think, yes, Mike Tarrant sent it and I will send it to you.
Okay.
I'll send it to all the board.
Yeah, I was just reading your summary, which is they had to leave in 30 days, says that wasn't enough evidence to justify, was there any fine? Or were the fines
No,
no
So he
fine
has
at
to
all?
pay nothing for the 4 years at the $200. Well, I mean, I know it was not gonna pay
Yeah,
279,000, but there was a max, whatever the judge
Yeah.
had said, but still,
Okay, so,
yeah.
I'll send you the report.
And
because there wasn't a sufficient paper
30
trail
days
from the
for
zoning
1 day.
administrator.
Right, the zoning administrator now is gonna be going by 2 or 3 times a week.
He's there now, like he told us when we went for his variance.
Yeah.
We just sleep there. We don't live there. We don't
Yeah.
live there. They're there all week long.
Yeah, I know. You're right across the street, you know.
Exactly.
yeah.
I see them, unfortunately, I drive by it morning and night and I want, boom.
Mhm.
But, yeah,
So we're gonna start documenting more of the violation, more of the time that he's there, so that can be documented. And we will get a clarification from the judge
okay, so it's 30 days from what date?
from Friday.
So
Yesterday.
February 28th, so by March
28th,
28th, rest
yeah.
of it, he has to be gone. But this is the same thing that the mother did.
Hmm.
She'd leave for the day,
Hmm.
she'd come back at night.
Hmm.
How are we gonna prevent him from coming back at night and sleeping there? And doing the same goddamn thing he's
We
doing now?
document it and then he's in contempt of court for violating the court order.
Because he
Now,
he
can-
will be in contempt.
Can I document it? Or does
You
it
could,
have
I'm sure you could assist Karen, but Karen's the official of town.
right there?
I
just
know,
Like Ryan does.
but Karen is the one who's got the
So that
responsibility,
means she's got to drive by every day.
or at least 3 times a week, what they said.
Now, like I said, he leaves in the mornings and goes to work and then comes home between 4:30 and 5.
If he sleeps there, to me, that's living there.
Exactly.
Whether he's there all day, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
If he's sleeping there, he's living there.
Okay,
I have a
If you
document.
wanted to keep a log, that would be really handy.
I would recommend, because I do this myself, that if you have a camera that keeps a date, Kim, that you take a photograph of the car being there or some other evidence to accompany your note, so that there's a dated visual reference that
Well,
goes.
I have my phone. Your
Yeah,
phone
your
has.
phone. Yeah, your phone would be fine. Just that would add to your documentation.
Yep, thanks, yep. Okay, I think we've, anything else you wanted to add?
Hey,
Okay.
Carl,
Yeah,
I
thanks. Any
couldn't
other?
figure out how to raise my
questions?
hand. Can I ask a question?
Oh, I'm sorry, sure, go ahead.
Um, the 180 day was one of many violations. What about the violations related to being connected to the septic system? That's one of the violations as well, and you don't need any evidence on that. That it's not like they're disconnecting that or reconnecting that. That's connected right now.
Yes, it is, and it would probably continue to be even if you left the RV, correct?
Exactly. I think they need to disconnect that RV, but more importantly, that should not be connected any days of the year. And that's the big environmental concern that everyone's concerned about. So hopefully the judge didn't, or the attorney, more importantly, didn't neglect to pay attention to the most important piece of this.
Yep, I'll have to look at these.
I would push on the attorney to be a little more thorough here. It's a bit of sloppy work from your attorney right now because there are several violations and he's getting a little distracted with one, but you've got a lot of violations here. And that attorney needs to make sure that we don't accidentally lose sight of something. This is taxpayer dollars you're talking about. There's a massive debt to the town of Plainfield. The town of Plainfield is dealing with real financial concerns. So let's not, get asleep at the wheel here, not implying the select board is, but the attorney needs to do his job and advocate for the town of Plainfield.
Yep,
Can one of the things be when he leaves in 30 days, that somebody from the town goes onto that property and disconnects the septic? All it is a hose. I can do it myself.
yeah, it's not a big deal.
No, because he already provided at the variance meeting, he had that septic pump, but he said it was the camper. You don't pay $450 to Kingsbury, whoever, to have a 30-gallon tank pumped off a camper. So he is going into the ground in that unpermitted septic.
In my opinion, into the stream, but that's,
Yeah.
Carl, we're beyond an update.
yeah,
This is not an agenda item
yeah,
for this
Yeah.
meeting.
Very good.
okay. You want to adjourn?
Yeah.
Motion?
I motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Okay,
Second.
all those in favor, say aye. Thanks for the input, everybody. I will follow up.
Okay, 30 days. I'll mark it on my calendar.
Yep,
And I will be keeping track.
Who's Linda Bizik? Is she, how does she relate to you?
Glenda,
Yeah.
my stepmom. Yep,
And next door neighbor,
and neighbor.
well, not next door. Couple
Yeah,
doors.
she's next, well,
Couple
She's
doors
down the road.
she used to be next door, then a house was built in the middle.
by some other guy,
Yeah,
tall guy,
yeah.
as I recall.
Well, like you said, the dog is gonna pay the consequences. I know, but.
There we go.
I just keep that.